Can anyone do medical coding? If you've ever watched the Disney movie Ratatouille, you're probably familiar with Gusto and his cookbook, Anyone Can Cook. I've seen some debate lately on the statement that anyone can become a medical coder, and without getting into where that came from and why, I thought it would be good to dive in today and talk about, can anyone learn medical coding? By the way, if you're new here, I'm Victoria. I'm a medical coder, auditor, educator, and content creator, and on my channel, I provide tips, tricks, and tutorials to help you be successful in a medical coding career. If you haven't already, highly encourage you to subscribe, hit that notification bell so you can get alerts when I post new episodes. Let's explore this a little bit. So medical coding is a common career option that's given to a lot of displaced workers. When I was in school, there were a lot of factory workers or displaced adult employees that didn't have a lot of pertinent job skills for the current market. They went into these state programs and they kind of gave them this roster of different jobs that they might be interested in. Some of the common things that would come up were office assistant, CNA, phlebotomist, and of course, medical billing and coding. So when I went through my curriculum in medical coding, there were a lot of older adults that had previously worked in factories or they had worked in call centers. They didn't really have a lot of job skills for working in an office, and they didn't want to do hands-on healthcare, so they went into medical billing and coding. It's also promoted heavily towards moms that are looking to either rejoin the workforce now that their kids are grown and in school during the day hours, or they will often target, even in magazine ads, saying that stay-at-home moms can do this while they're watching their children in replace of having to put them in daycare, which I've talked about this in a little bit in my previous videos. In the majority of cases is not true. There are some pockets of employers that will allow that, but when you're starting out and you need to kind of take any job that will accept you, to kind of take that scope of the available jobs and narrow it down to ones that are going to permit you to have your kids and watch them while you're working, that's a little bit more difficult to navigate. Not to say that it is impossible to do or that it's never been done, it's just not typically common. Now let's talk about the basics, the skills of learning ICD-10-CM, ICD-10-PCS, CPT, HCPCS. Obviously these things are a lot easier to learn and grab the concepts and really have that better picture of what you're working with when you know med term and anatomy. So there are prerequisites that I think are better taken before you learn the actual how to code. In fact, almost all curriculums are structured in that way, that you learn things about medical terminology and anatomy, sometimes even pathophysiology, learn about medical insurance and how it works before learning medical coding. And actually, if you are just starting out your journey and haven't picked out a school yet, I would highly recommend onlinedegree.com. I work very closely with onlinedegree.com, and they've developed a quiz that is specific for my viewers and helps them find a completely online medical billing and coding program that will work in their budget and with their schedule. And you can get a 10% discount, but only if you use my special link, go.onlinedegree.com/contempo, and I will include it in the description as well. I love onlinedegree.com because they've helped tons of students navigate to the right curriculum for them and pursue their careers in medical billing and coding. Plus, with these types of programs, they're not going to give you all kinds of fluff that you won't need. You're not going to need to take art or philosophy or social studies. You're just going to concentrate on exactly what you need to focus on in order to be successful in your new career. And if you're still thinking about it, at the end of this video, I'm going to link you to some additional resources to help you better decide if medical coding is for you. But if you do, don't forget, go.onlinedegree.com/contempo, and you can get that great discount on your education. So let's kind of dial it back to when I started the video and I was talking about Ratatouille, and let's use that cooking comparison. So if we think about a concept like cooking, anyone can learn the basics of cooking, how to make macaroni and cheese or a nice dinner or bake a cake. But does everyone possess the skills to be the next Morimoto or the next Gordon Ramsay? Yes, but not everyone wants to be at that level. Or maybe they just don't want to dedicate that time, or they can't make that commitment to get to that level. But if we're looking at the basics, can everyone learn that basics of how to cook? Yes, same thing with coding. Pretty much anyone could learn just the basics of how to code. Short of some sort of exceptional disability, everyone has the capability to learn medical terminology and anatomy and then how to use those different code sets. Not look up the codes, but actually understand the guidelines enough to pass the exam. Just like some people may be more naturally proficient at coding, there may be some people that are more naturally proficient at medical coding. So some people will learn it much faster than others, but I really do feel like everyone does have that capability if they want to invest the time, if they have the passion, the drive, and they really want to do it. But again, not everyone wants to be the master know-it-all expert coder. Of course, anyone in whatever career is going to naturally have a bias and say, oh, well, no one else can do my career because mine is so special and it took me so hard. So you have a natural bias towards that. So just because you're someone who's at the expert advanced level, that you look into the Federal Register and analyze things and develop presentations and work with physicians and lawyers, that doesn't mean that no one else can do that, because what you do is up here. We're talking about the average medical coding position. Is that something that most people can do? Yes, but maybe not everyone has that desire or really wants to be the pro or the expert or the person who works on the CPT advisory panel. And of course, people who have better assets to learn with, that they have a private tutor or a private instructor, they have updated code books, they have special references that they utilize. They're going to be structured a little bit better than someone who is maybe taking classes online and they don't have updated books available to them. But that's kind of the same with, again, going back to our cooking example. Someone who has a completely full kitchen with all of the ingredients and all of the cookware and a nice island is going to do a lot better than someone who is trying to cook in a hotel room. In fact, that no one can do what I do attitude can be very toxic in a work environment. I found some people in different healthcare environments that they have that attitude because they've worked very hard for what they do and they're protective, but more so they feel like if someone else knows how to do what they do, that then they're replaceable. And no one wants to feel replaceable. But then we run into huge problems if that one person who only knows how to access this one system and do this one thing winds up with some sort of medical leave, and now our whole process is backed up and we're having all kinds of customer service issues or workflow issues or just dissatisfaction because we can't get through that process because that one person who won't train anyone else to do what they do because no one else can do it. No one else can do what I do. Now they're out for the count and we have a big, big problem. So I think everyone possesses the capability, if they want to, if they're really driven, to learn medical coding as a skill. But does everyone want to be a super, super successful mega coder? Maybe not, but there are skills you can even work on to improve in that direction. Being that superstar medical coder can involve having a lot of soft skills, being a constant researcher, a constant learner, knowing how to independently find answers. So maybe not everyone has the personality skills or the desire to go to that higher level in medical coding, and that's fine if that's what they want. Actually, if you're still researching medical coding, you're still learning about it and figuring out if this is right for you, I have a suggestion. You want to check out this playlist because it has all of the resources that I have. If you're interested in becoming a medical coder and you don't know where to start, that is the video playlist you want to watch. I will see you guys in the next video, and until then, just keep on coding on.